Now we get underway with our Senior Rotax B final. Here is your starting grid. So Kaz Boshuis and Sam Van Vliet will be on the front row. Lawrence Herboz and Antoine Mahler will be rounding out the top two rows. Thomas Johannes Dominguez will be on row on row 3. Was due to have Matthew Higgins alongside, but Matthew Higgins has opted to non-start. So he will be joined by should be joined by Jack Webster, Adam Valster, Ragnar Simeland, Chloe Kennard and Spencer Braun round out the top 9. Rafael Jesus 10th, ahead of Matthias Krohn, Gustav van Gogh, Stein Scholten, Frederik Zebis Christensen, Amanda Salonen, Paul Hamburg, Alexander Savinkov, Sim Sepp, Kao Korenik, Andrea Kostic, Benoit Tordema, Scott Westhovens, Anton Morsing, Romans Rodionovs, Justin Van Vliet, Ivar Anagnostiidis and Artyom Sestakovs rounding out the grid. So now it's time for the drivers to get into formation ahead of 13 minutes plus an additional lap. They've got to do it quickly, otherwise the full start will be pretty much called. So 28 drivers about to go into battle for the top 3 positions in the B final. Red lights on the starting gantry. It's Boshuis and Van Vliet on the front row into the tram lines. Revs start to rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights are out first time. Good start by Boshuis as they make their way into turns 1 and 2 for the opening time. Herboz looking to follow Boshuis, and there has been an instant one kart on the back of another, and that's not exactly, and that straight away caused a noisy exhaust. I would imagine that's probably going to be for the 350 that might have been, that was one of the carts, might have been Thomas Johannes Dominguez that that was the 384, I believe, that went up into the air. Jack Webster from Australia. It's a case of squeezing, and there is the 329 that's off the circuit. That's Matthias Krohn from Denmark. So Boshuis and Herboz making a good clean start. Behind them is the 365. And that is Sam Van Vliet, who rounds out the top 3. A little bit of jockeying for position from 5th backwards. Adam Valster is in the mix there, along with a few other drivers. So quite a few drivers compromised by that. Matthias Krohn was off the track, and the Dane was starting from 13th position. And it is actually Matthias Krohn that had the noisy exhaust and now is pulled off the circuit. And nice pickup by Dion, one of our camera guys, that there is actually the top part of the exhaust, there is the exhaust part, which holds the baffles that keeps the noise under noise restriction limits. As a little bit snaky under braking. That was a bit of a send. That was from one of the SP Motorsport drivers. I think that might have been Jack Webster. He definitely went for it, and good on him for doing so. It just went a little bit deep into the corner. Now there's some more battling up ahead. Spencer Braun, the 356, running on the CRG chassis. Dad and Lad operation. Had a really good chat with them earlier on this week when they registered for the event. He said it might not be the last time you see us here at Genk because I really like the track. They've had their trials and tribulations, but oh no, big incident on the back straight, including Frederik Zebis, including the 343 of Gustav van Gogh, and that was a massive hit There was a cart on the left-hand side that caused all that. Just trying to pick out who that was, but that was a big incident. Big time incident there. So that just goes to show 3 wide, and if anyone interlock wheels, it's game over. And that's exactly what happened. And that was Rafael Jesus that was on the outside, the 337 from the UAE. Lawrence Herboz, in the meantime, continues to lead. There's nearly another interlocking of wheels. That was between the 367, I believe. That's Anton Morsing with Tristan van Vliet in the 339. But they kept away from it all. 9.5 minutes still remaining on the timer, plus an additional lap. And there is a 3-way scrap for these drivers. So Herboz leads the way now ahead of Casbos House. Sian van Vliet, Spencer Broom now finds himself in 4th position and has, more importantly, clear air. And that was until Chloe Kennard decided to go up the inside. They nearly interlock wheels and Brown actually gets through. So Spencer Broom is leading the train. And hopefully that might be able to have a look at it. And I'm just taking a look back that Rafael Jesus ended up with 2 wheels on the grass. Frederik Zebis was an unwilling participant. And then, unfortunately, Gussig van Gorp was the one that got spat out exit stage right, and she went straight on and couldn't do anything about it and managed to stop it. Oh, and we've got someone in the barriers, and that is Stain Scholten. Stain Scholten hard into the foam barriers off of Cafe Corner. That's a real shame for Scholten, who's running a little bit and, you know, dropped all the way down the order. Maybe might have had an incident with Karl Korenik from Estonia, but that just, again, and more drivers nearly interlocking wheels. Tunis Johannes Tomingas nearly interlocking wheels with Alexander Savinkov from the UK with Argenti Motorsport. And now drivers going through into turn number 10, including the 396 of Iva Anagnostiidis. Great to catch up with the family yesterday. So 7 minutes and 20 seconds still to go. There are still battles waging on. And more importantly, there's also the battle for the race lead as well, which is really between 3 drivers. Spencer Broom, though, has pulled away ever so slightly from Francis Chloe Kennard. And Iva Anagnostiidis is currently running in 6th position. Now, another member of the family, James, has made it through to the top 30. So Iva hasn't had the best run of luck, whereas James has. There is Stain Scholten just on the Marshall post off of turn number 10 after ending up underneath the foam barriers. Still remember one particular incident, I think back in 2019, where we had one driver mount the top of the other and it ended up making it onto Instagram. So, Karl Korenik, Stain Scholten out. Rafael Jesus, Frederik Zebis Christensen and Gustav van Gorp through that incident on the back straightaway, also out. Matthias Krohn out with the noisy exhaust. And funnily enough, it was Tonis Johannes Tomingas that was actually mounted by Jack Webster earlier on in the race, and Webster was 3 wide coming out of turn 3. Dominguez was trying to fight for position, was gesticulating to other drivers around the circuit. So it was a case of, well, you need to concentrate on what's going on and happening in front of you. But still, an even Stevens between these top 3. They have rocketed away into the distance. And oh no, Benoit Tordema is out of the race as well, the 3.59 from France. And that is just off of the entrance into Cafe Corner at turn 10. Oh dearie me, they are dropping like flies right now, as Chloe Canard manages to get through on either anagnostiitis. So, is there someone else with a possible noisy exhaust? I think there is one that's sounding slightly noisier than others. And Spencer Braum's... Oh, now, has Spencer Braum been involved in an incident with Benoit Tordema? Well, that is... Well, because Spencer was actually running P4. Top three, still as they were, with 4 minutes and 38 seconds still remaining on the timer. Chloe Canard in fourth. Antoine Marler makes it 2 French drivers in the top 5. And there is a real big battle. Adjam Sestakovs, who started pretty much stone dead last, has ended up at the sharp end. So has either Anagnostiitis. I mean, they were right at the back end of the field, and they're running in the top 10. This race has just been one of sheer attrition, and there's more dramas again through turn 7, and everyone's scrabbling to pick up the pieces, and Alexander Savinkov is sideways through into the entrance at turn number 8, but holds on, has to give up a place or two. In the meantime, I think Jack Webster is one of the drivers that's just passed Alexander, who has Ukrainian heritage, but runs under a UK licence. So 3 minutes and 32 seconds. I mean, it was the 3.73 of Paul Hamburg, and I think was going up the inside of Sim Sepp, and they're at it again, this time through turn number 3 and 4. Actually it was the 3.40. Ragnar Simuland, and they're running under Talvar Racing, and Jack Webster sends it up the inside of Simuland and gets through. So does the 3.15 of Amanda Salonen from Finland. So more chops and changes you can shake your stick at right about now. But some good racing by some of those drivers that have managed to weather the storm. And Spencer Braun out, Benoit Tordema out. We are now down to 20 drivers out of what was due to be 30 starters, ended up being 28. We still have 2 3/4 minutes to go. Lawrence Herbos now extends a slight lead as Ivor gets through on Chloe. So Anagnostiitis through on Canal, and now Canal loses another place to Sestakovs. And then there's someone else that gets through, and that's Anton Morsing from Denmark in the 3.67. So Chloe Canard drops towards the bottom part of the top 10. Scott Westhoven's now is running in 10th position at the minute, ahead of Dominguez, who was the one that was being mounted on the opening lap through the exit of turn number 2 by Jack Webster from Australia. But Lawrence Herbos continues to lead the way. So Chloe Canard finds herself in 8th position. Adam Valster now up into 9th, ahead of Scott Westhovens. Thomas Johannes Dominguez, Paul Hamburg, Jack Webster, Amanda Salonen and Ragnar Simuland round out the top 15, followed by the UK's Alexander Savinkov, who's got someone very, very close behind, which will be Ragnar Simuland from Estonia. So they have swapped positions. Savinkov now completes the top 15. Definitely going to be a bit of a clear-up operation for our marshalling team here at Team MKG, but a big thank you to them. As always, their response and hard work ethic is exemplary around here. Coming into the last 50 seconds or so, we have 2 more laps to go, including this one. We're on lap number 14 out of 15. It might be 16, depending on when Lawrence Herbos crossed the line. It might have been with just over a minute to go. So we could have 3 laps remaining So it could be at a total of 16 laps come the end of this race. So the timer hit 0. We are going to get 2 more laps. So on to lap number 15 out of 16. Timer has officially expired. Laurens Herboz still leads the way by just over 9/10 of a second ahead of Cas Boshuis and Siem van Vliet, who rounds out the top 3. They're covered by just over 1 3/4 seconds. So 8 drivers out of the race. That is pretty close to a third of the field that has been eliminated from the proceedings. As the last lap board for these drivers will be shown very, very shortly. And first up to see it will be Laurens Herboz from Belgium, running with Bouvin Power. Cas Boshuis in second. Third is Siem van Vliet. Fourth, it's Francis-Antoine Mahler. And great work by Australia's Iva Anagnostiidis, who's currently running in P5 and has just set her fastest lap of the race. Brilliantly done by Iva there. Artyom Sestakov is running in 6th. He's also set his fastest lap of the race and is about 3.5 tenths behind. But the final lap very much underway. Top 10 were covered by just under 8.7 seconds. But our race leader now making his way down into turn number 10 at Cafe Corner for what will be the 16th and final time. And these top 3 have kept out of harm's way. It's a bit too much of a tall order for Antoine Mahler to take third, but Herboz wins the B final for seniors. Boshuis and Van Vliet round out the top 3. Mahler, Anagnostiidis, Sestakovs, Morsing, Chloe Canal, Adam Valster and Scott Westhovens. They complete the top 10 runners and riders in what has been an attrition-filled Senior Rotax B final. Tonis Johannes Dominguez, Jack Webster, Paul Hamburg, Alexander Savinkov and Ragnar Simulan ran out the top 15. Amanda Salonen in 16th, ahead of Andrea Kostic, Roman Zrodjanovs, Justin Van Vliet and Sim Sepp rounding out the 20 that finished all 16 laps. On lap 7, we lost Spencer Braum and Benoit Tordema. Stein Scholten and Kyle Karenik on lap 4. And then the big incident on lap 2, Rafael Jesus, Frederik Zebes Christensen and Gusse van Gorp down the back straightaway on the Europlan. And Matthias Kroon didn't even make it to the end of the opening lap, with Matthew Higgins and Elia Papacina opting to be non-starters.